Hi, I'm Jackie Olive. I'm the director and producer of Always in Season. It's in the U.S. documentary competition of the 2019 Sundance Film Festival. Always in Season is a documentary feature that examines the lingering impact of more than a century of lynching African Americans, and it connects that form of historic racial terrorism to racial violence today. When Oscar Grant was killed in the Bay Area, it really shook me, and I really wanted to figure out what I could do about finding justice for Oscar Grant and what happened with Michael Brown, what happened with Trayvon Martin, all of these killings of often young black men, but certainly women and children. And there is a lack of concern. It's being swept under the rug in the same way that people weren't talking about lynching. When I began filming in 2010, I realized that there was this groundswell of people really wanting to confront this history and understanding that their personal stories, their family stories often, because they were often relatives of the victims, sometimes relatives of the perpetrators, that their families' stories connected. And so I began to reach out to them, and I got a really good understanding of the impact this history of lynching has on everyone in the community. And then I came across the story of Lennon Lacy, a 17-year-old who was found hanging in Bladenboro, North Carolina in 2014, in August 2014. My son was also 17. And so I really wanted to understand what happened to Lennon and how it impacted the community. And the more that I talked to people like Lennon's mother, Claudia, the more I started to realize that the things that were going on there, the horror that they were facing, had so many connections to what was going on in the communities where I'd already been filming. I think it's really important that when you tell a story, that it's not just about data, that it really resonates and people feel all of the elements that came together in this country to build a climate, a society in which people could be hanged in public, often tortured in public over hours, and you have thousands of people celebrating. It's really important for me that people feel that. People like to think that there's a wall between us and history, that there is somehow this information that's contained and separate from us. But there's a very direct correlation between what's happened historically and what's going on now around racial violence. It's important that they are able to make those connections so that people understand the world that we're walking in day to day on a daily basis, the neighborhoods that we're walking through, the institutions that are still structured in a way that is oppressive, that is unfair, so that they can then be moved to take action. It's really important for me that people start to look at their family connections to this history, people of color, whites, everyone in between, so that people can come together and start to unpack this history and look at what they can do for justice and reconciliation.